Hi everybody, today we're going to do a negative painting of clovers in honor of St. Patrick's Day. And to help us understand what negative painting is and to help us practice our line control, our water control, what brushes to use and values. I'm going to use my 48 color palette that is just all convenience colors. I love it. It was my first one. I picked it for this experiment today because of all the greens I have. I also used this Arches 140 pound 100% cotton paper in size 8x8. I probably use this the most. This is my 8x10. And then I used these brushes, Silver Black Velvet 10 and 8. You're gonna want a pointy round brush for this. I used my Silver Whites 4, 2, and 0. And then here and there I picked up a dry brush because I showed you a hack about how to get rid of a line that is forming a cauliflower. So with that, let's get started. Hi everyone, happy St. Patrick's Day. Today I thought it would be fun to do a negative painting of some clovers. I printed out a clover and then I made it in 3 different sizes. I traced it onto some cardstock and cut them out. You'll find the outline for the clovers on my Patreon for free at Jennifer Broussard on Patreon. I got out my original set of watercolors as well. And this is my original 48 colors. I have changed out a few over the years, but I do really enjoy using all of these colors once in a while. And I chose it for today because I have a lot of greens. So looking at my card, I've got, they're all Daniel Smith. I've got sap green, green gold, viridian, perylene green, undersea green, jadeite green, serpentine green, and cascade green. And then I also have some turquoises and some blues. And I thought it would be fun to try mixing some reds in with the greens to make them be a little darker. So what I'm going to do to start is just cover the whole piece of paper with a light wash. And one of my favorite greens is serpentine green. So I'm going to get a whole bunch of that out. Use whatever greens you have or mix your greens. Mixing is really great because you can make a million different greens with yellow and blue. I'm going to also get out some sap green. And I want to get out some yellow. And I really like Naples yellow. Okay, I think that's good for now. Now I'm going to get a bigger brush to wet this with, just whatever you have that's big. I have this Creative Mark 2-inch. I'm going to cover this with water. It's very thirsty. It's Arches 8x8 block of cold pressed. Getting that first water on there is sometimes a little tricky because the brush will just skip over the texture. Okay. Now I'm just going to grab a bunch of colors and put them all in here. I think Jean Brilliant might also be pretty. That's Jean Brilliant number 2 by Holbein right over here. It's an opaque paint, just like Naples yellow. I have no rhyme or reason. I'm just putting it in. Sometimes that's all you want to do on a day, you know, after a hard day. You just want to come in your room and put some paint on paper. Now I'll go into the serpentine green. Add that in. I don't want to cover all of the white. We are going to be negative painting. That means we're going to be painting in layers. I'll use the sap green. So we're going to be When this is dry, we're going to trace one of the, or some of the shamrocks on there, clovers, whatever they are. And then we're going to be painting around those shapes that we traced. Some more Sean Brilliant. Now I'm going to give it some texture. Actually, I want to put a little bit of a, this one is Jadeite. It has a little bit of black in it. Now I don't want to leave it like this. I want to give it a little texture. And that means I'm going to spray it. I just have this sprayer. You can get one at Target. This is like a fine mist one, I think. And a Target one has more water droplets in it. And I'm going to move it around. And get all those colors to, mixing together. Now we have some movement there in the corner. I'm going to splat too. I'm going to splat in some green gold. Some clear water. There's a lot of water on here now. And as it starts to dampen, I'll keep adding some drops. And you can kind of get an idea of what that will do when it's damper, less wet. It's all kind of going down that way. And then you move it. You can see it all kind of gathering right there. It gets to the other side and then you just move it the opposite way and let gravity do the work. I'm going to keep doing this, and then when it's dry, I'll come back. I want to show you what to do with one that has more bigger water drops. This is the Target one, like in the travel section. Oh, that one's even more fine mist than the Holbein one. Oh, I had that backwards. So I'm going to now just drop some water on there. You can see how it makes the pigment disperse because the water that I'm dropping on is wetter than the damp paper. I really like that. Isn't that pretty? The granulating serpentine green, you can see little brown flecks that have settled in the valleys of the paper. This is the jadeite green. And then these are the water drops. And then underlying, you can see all those yellows. Okay, now I'm going to zoom it in. Other way. And move this away a little bit. And I'm going to start tracing. So I'm going to trace, I think, just 3 of those for the first layer. So I'm going to do like that. And I'm going to go ahead and speed this part up. I have the 3 clovers traced, and now I'm going to use my number 8. And I'm going to mix up some more serpentine green. I'm going to put that in the sap green. Oh well. No big deal. I'm going to get out some of the Jaune Brilliant. It's okay if it gets... Actually, I don't like that. It's looking a little muddy. I want Jaune Brilliant to be unmixed. Okay, and I'm going to get some sap green. And I'll put that over there. Now, with clear water, I'm going to wet kind of around the clovers. And I'm going to wet beyond where I'm going to go so I don't get a hard line like a... Louise Massey just called it a tide line. And I like that term. If you just wet your paper to there and let it dry, you will have a line there. If that's what you want, that's great, but a lot of times you don't want that. Okay, I'm focusing on this clover for now. And now I'm going to put in some of the, what was that, serpentine green. And I like to let the water just take it away. A little bit of the sap green. I don't want to go too dark because we're going to be doing a few layers like this. And if you go too dark, you won't be able to tell what's what. Move your paper around. And now we've created a shape by painting outside of it. Now that it's all dry, I can try to get some of the pencil mark off. Anything that didn't get painted over will come off. You probably can't tell, but it is helping. I just got a whole bunch off of here. Okay, now we're going to do it again. So I'm going to mix up the sizes. I'm going to put them overlapping some of these. And then when you trace, you don't trace the part that's overlapping the clover underneath it. Okay, so let's do... So this part is not going to get traced because it's on top of this clover. So now I skip all of this and I come to here and finish tracing it. So now this is underneath that. Okay, I'm going to do same kind of thing, but I want it to go the opposite. I think I'll do this. Here we go. Now I'm not going to trace this, but I am going to trace that little line right there. None of that. Okay. And then this one is going to go like that. And you don't have to just do 3 at a time. You can do more than that, which I think I'm going to do. Okay, so I stop right there, pick up over here. Little stems are hard to trace. So I think I'm going to do another one right there. I think I'll do a different size though. I'm going to do the small one. So now the little stems are kind of facing each other. Stop there, take it off, and now it's underneath that one. I'm going to put another big one. Actually, I think that's probably good. So now you paint again. I think I'm going to take some of this pencil off. You just roll a kneaded eraser over it, and I can still see the outline. But it won't show up so much in the painting. Okay, I'm going to get some more of the, I think I want to use some Cascade green. That has some blues in it, but I'm going to use a light value of it because in and of itself, it is a darker value. So I'm lightening that value a little, and I'm going to get a little more sap green. So now we have more of a cool color. So same idea, we're going to paint around all of the clovers now, all of these. And the area that we're going to be painting is smaller, but it's a little more painstaking, meaning there are a lot of lines to go, to stay out of. A lot of ways that you can kind of, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Forget it. Get some of this Cascade. This color does really well wet and wet. Really love it. So we're going to paint the whole thing. Get some of this. I'm going to wet around these. I'm going to get rid of that line. So I guess I'm going to go around clockwise. So now this clover is full of serpentine green. I'm going to wet that. Throw in some Cascade green. Now for in little places like that, I'm going to get this number 4. Get some of this Cascade green. Okay, there's a stem in there, stem right there. And then right inside there. Make that a little darker. Okay, back to my size 8. Okay, Okay, I'm going to get some more water. Getting a tide line here. I really like that word. You don't want to be really thick with the pigment because you still want the pigments from the earlier layers to come through. We're just very slowly building up layers. More water. Really got to have an eagle eye with these. All of these corners and angles. I'm going to come back to that. Okay, I think I've got it all. And now I have wetter paper right up next to some damp paper. So I'm going to get a dry brush and sweep it across there. It kind of picks the water up off of here, very gently moves it away. And now they've kind of become equal in moisture. Okay, everything's dry, and off camera I went ahead and drew on 4 more clovers. I then went ahead and got out some darker pigmented and darker value paint. I got some Perylene green, a little more Cascade green, and I got some undersea green. So now we're going to paint around all of the clovers. It won't be as difficult this time because we have some smaller areas to paint and we don't have to worry about the tide line too much. So I'm going to wet the bigger areas, and then the smaller areas I'm just going to fill in without getting it wet. I'm going to add a little undersea green. Little Cascade green, little Perylene green. Get this while I'm here. I am going quite a bit darker. This is my second to last layer. Wet all of this. Cascade green. These ones that we put on first and second are going to have a lot of outlines, so I'm being really careful around the ones that have multiple outlines around them. I want that to be a little darker. Okay, once again, it's dry, and I traced one there, there. Okay, so there, and there, and they're not easy to see. I'm going to use the number 4, and I'm just going to use dark greens now. I'm going to grab a whole bunch of perylene green. And I did mention at the beginning of the video that we'd try to mix a little bit of red in, so I'm going to grab some permanent alizarin crimson, which is this third one. I'm going to get some perylene green and mix with that, and that's a really pretty brown. I'm going to mix some more perylene green with that. And I have a really dark green now. So I learned a lesson while I was painting that last layer, that I painted the outside first, and then I had to be really careful with my hand to paint the inside. So this time I'm going to paint the inside first and then paint the outside. So I have to really watch. This is the hardest part because it's dark. The paint is dark and the pencil is about the same darkness as the paint. So I'm going to paint this little area right in here just on dry paper. I'm going to get the outline in first, and then I'll just fill in. Okay. Grab some of this really dark and put that in there. I want the darkest part to be right here in the middle. I traced one here. Okay. I love this number 2, silver white, so I'm going to use that because I have just some little spots here now to fill in. This is a great little project to do when you don't want to think about perspective, you don't want to think about shadows, you don't want to think about all that stuff that comes into play. But they're all good things to do and they're fun. But sometimes you just, like I said earlier, just want to paint something that's mindless. This has just enough steps and enough thinking that you can have something nice that you've painted without having to go through a lot of effort. There's no outline to trace or print out, or you just get to get out your paints and your paper and start. Really the only prep is to get the shapes cut out. Do the middle here. There's little V's. It's these little dark areas that really give it depth. I missed a little spot right there. Here's another one here. Gonna make it a little darker. A little one here. I might come back and do that again just to get it even darker. Okay, so I'm kind of done, almost. Here's another one here. There's one here. I dried it and I'm looking around and seeing if there's enough contrast and depth, and I'm really happy with how this came out. And I'm really struggling with what to do with this. This doesn't seem like it is enough different, but I'm wondering if I care. And I think I want to add a little bit of Perylene Green, at least in this little triangle here. And then maybe just a little bit along the outside. So when you're about done with yours, look at it, at the whole thing, step away from it. And what really helps me is taking a picture of it and looking at it on my phone, looking at the picture that I just took. For some reason, that helps me put it all together. Put a little bit here. Let that water take it. Okay, get rid of that line. I think that looks a little better. This is still fading away, but it looks more back there, like behind these ones that are on top. So that's called negative painting. And this is just a practice. It's a drill kind of, to get used to defining shapes by painting around them. And a lot of painters will do that when they want to do a light bush in front of a dark bush. They will paint the paper the color of the light bush, and then when it's dry, put in the dark color like we did here around the bush that they want to have be light. So that's it for today. Let me know how you think, how you went. Let me know how you did. You try talking into a microphone to nobody. Let me know how you did, and I'd love to see it. If you can comment on my Facebook page, Jennifer Broussard Art. Probably the best spot would be where I have the post for this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and have a great day. Happy St. Patrick's Day.